Hello, everyone, and welcome back. And thank you for joining me on this beautiful day in January. It's January in the United States and a gorgeous day here on the beach. But today I want to talk about something that has become very important for people after the awakening has begun. Something that can be confusing, and that is this. The body is the last place that the I, the sense of I, hides. Before awakening, the I hides inside the mind, inside mental formations, right? Like thoughts, and it hides in stories and interpretations and perceptions. But after awakening begins, these formations are really seen for what they are, which is simply just movements in awareness, not as a personal self. After the awakening has begun, thoughts are now seen as just thoughts, yes? And the storyline loses its solidity. The sense of me, that mythical me that we talk about, in the mind is now dissolving. But here's the thing, the identity doesn't disappear all at once. It moves. And where it moves is into our physical form. It moves into the body. And here the I contracts into sensation. This is incredibly common throughout the awakening process, and especially into deep awakening. Because when the mind quiets and the I can no longer hide in thought and mental formations, the body becomes the new frontier. Sensations that were always there suddenly now feel vivid. They can feel amplified. They can feel unavoidable. And it really depends on how attuned you are now to your body and to your nervous system. It's not that the body gets louder. It's that it's no longer being drowned out with mental noise. And for many people, this shift feels like sensations now are more intense, and contractions now feel more obvious, and old patterns surfacing somatically feel more amplified. The nervous system now is firing in different ways, in new ways, and the body is revealing things that were previously ignored, probably because they were hidden. This is not a mistake. If you're having these feelings, it's definitely not a regression. It's not a sign that awakening caused anything to go wrong. And some people worry about this. They think there's something happening that's it's negative, and it's not. It's just that when the mind can no longer convincingly say, this is me, the sense of self will shift into physical form. And I'm just seeing a beautiful flock of pelicans flying across the sky. I don't think they're showing up. So sorry about that interruption. But again, these contractions and these sensations will show up more specifically as tightness in the chest, or a knot in the stomach, maybe even digestive issues. Pressure in the throat, where we may have been holding back tears or not speaking up. Bracing in the shoulders is very common. Waves of heat, also very common. And again, these contractions are not problems. They're not signs that anything is going wrong. Again, they're simply the shape that the I takes when it tries to exist. It's trying to live. So this is the last refuge of the separate self. Because now awareness is shining into places that previously were in shadow. And I just want to say a brief word about the nervous system, because I think we need to talk about it more on the awakening path, particularly in non-duality, where it often is not mentioned. For many people, this is where the confusion arises. As the identity dissolves, the nervous system, which we all have a nervous system, will react. Not because something is wrong, but because something familiar is loosening. It's loosening. And this really is very important to understand. The nervous system has been conditioned your entire life, for decades and decades, to protect the me, the mythical me, to orient around the me, to respond as if the me is our reality. So when the me is dissolving, the body will fire old patterns, and you may feel waves of energy like surges of emotion. It could be even feel at times like impending doom, a sense of heightened vulnerability. Again, this is not pathology. This is not pathology. This is the awakening process. It's certainly not a setback. It's the body revealing where identification still lives. Where it still lives, okay? So if we delve into sensation versus the story about sensation, we discover that the key to embodied awakening, and this is the a big part of the awakening process, is the embodiment. What we see is that sensation itself is not the problem in awakening. It's the identity woven into sensation that creates any discomfort or suffering. And of course, I really want to make it clear, if a sensation is signaling something that needs medical attention, some pain, ongoing pain, this is also part of the intelligence of the body. So awakening never means ignoring the body. Actually, awakening will make you more sensitive to it. You will feel things more deeply. In my own experience, this was challenging. I had to learn to discern between energetic contractions that were part of the awakening and physical sensations that were pointing to something in my body that needed care. Awakening made me more sensitive to the body, not less. And that sensitivity helped me recognize something that needed medical attention. This went on for years. I was getting medical attention, trying to find out what was going on. Something had been living in my body for years while working my way through the contractions of the awakening. So it's really important that we never dismiss sensations or just assume everything is just energy. No bypassing. It's about meeting what arises without immediately personalizing it, while also honoring the body's very real signals if something does need attention. Okay? So let's look at how your awakening becomes embodied. When a contraction arises and you don't claim it, it then is freed up to be compost for consciousness. And then emotional patterns will begin breaking down. And the nervous system will recalibrate naturally, because now the body is reorganizing around truth instead of fear. Instead of fear. So this is all, it's a game changer for the body, for the nervous system. Yet nothing needs to be fixed on your part. You don't need to manage anything. There's nothing that needs to be improved, because awareness does the metabolizing. Your only role, if we can even call it a role, is to not pick the contraction back up and call it me. Because the body is not who you are. And now you may understand this right now conceptually, but as the awakening deepens, despite strong sensations, you begin to clearly feel and see, clear seeing, that the body is not your identity. It is a beautiful, temporary expression of love. But in reality, it's an appearance, a temporary appearance in awareness. So again, the contractions you feel are simply the last place the dream of me tries to hold on. And when these contractions are met in awareness, without ownership, without resistance, without any interpretation, they dissolve. They dissolve. And what remains is the simplicity of pure being, capital B. Pure being. So if you are experiencing any physical contraction or any nervous system activation or old emotional patterns rising up, again, just please know that there is nothing wrong. Nothing is wrong. Because again, when these places are met in awareness, they become fuel for the fire of freedom, of the freedom that you're longing for. And this leads to embodied wisdom. So thank you so much for being here with me this beautiful moment. And I hear from you. I get comments and questions, email. I really want to thank you for your sincerity on this path. It means so much. So much, much love to you. And namaste.